killing me.
And Terry Labonte, a lot of damage to the nose of that car.
What if he tore it up?
See, what did I tell you? Nothing to worry about. The Sandy Ridge content is officially back in full swing. And the first video back is the Bobby Labonte installment of Neighborhood Fun, Tear It Up Like Terry Labonte. I thought about doing a warm weather banger and or what's it called? Summer randomness, but summer randomness is part of that, quote unquote, my tradition juice. We usually do that for the first day of the last full month of summer production. So we're going to save that for when August starts. But, the warm weather banger, we'll save that for another day. I just want to get something simple out. That way you don't think that I disappeared from YouTube. Well, guess what? I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm just taking a little bit of two or three. I've taken 4 mini breaks in total before this one. Now this is my 5th and 6th. I took one, a little bit of one when I recorded, I took, after the one, around the time we did Adam Gregg's birthday, Nigeria maybe 19th birthday party, I took another one, like in between that and Daniel's grad party, and then I took another one, in between Daniel's grad party and the Spurs offseason recap video so far, and addressing Daniel Suarez losing his right at Trackhouse after this season. So therefore, we've taken how many mini breaks? 4. Okay, let me do the math here. Yeah, we've taken a total of 5 mini breaks. We've taken a total of 5 mini breaks. So we are back in full swing just to avoid burnout. So therefore, are you shitting me? Well, so much for that. Looks like we're gonna have to wait this out.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Finally fucking cleared. So, all right, boys, let's try this again.
Come on down, we've been missing you in the 903 and 262. Gotta go see your favorite boy with you when we went on that night trip. Limo rides, shopping sprees, late night sleepovers, get ready with me. 4 or 5, slept till 3, what's a TikTok star do? It's all because we got lost in Texas, sipping on Alani's, trying on dresses, talking about boys doing hair and makeup, showing everybody what dreams are made of, trading in matching dunks for boots, just the 3 of us, no room for dudes, loving every second of this time with you, now we're packing up, playing leaves at 2, football, softball, TikTok live, hunting and fishing and golf cart rides, dancing and
Yes, after a brief mini break, I think this is our 5th or 6th mini break in total in our history and our YouTube return from February 2021 to now. It's good to be back with the Sandy Ridge content, and the Barleys over there, their Sandy Ridge anniversary just passed, 22, 23, 24, 25. They've been here for 4 years as of June 27th or the 28th. I forgot to wish. Well, I didn't forget to wish. I'm happy Sandy Ridge. I was going to, but my own personal stuff and this game we call life ended up getting in the way. But I will eventually say it to them as a happy belated, Sandy Ridge anniversary. And we'll see if me and Rachel can do a TikTok again like we did the first anniversary in 2022. So, which way are we going? That way. So, as usual, as per usual, to start things off, we always ask. The first question is, in terms of what's going to be the first stop of the day, in a video like this, where to first? Unfortunately, it looks like there's so far nothing happening in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio. So, as usual, even though we haven't done this practice in a little while, we're just going to tell random stories, we're a little story mode, to kill time until something exciting and or interesting happens. So therefore, unfortunately, there was no 4th of July party here in Sandy Ridge because Jerry Springer Man chose not to do it this year. Well, even though yesterday was a jam-packed banger, It also proved the Crouch of Doom's point. Even outside of, a couple TikToks that were done, and 2 of them to be exact. Oh my God, these itchies are going to be the death of me. I mean, as far as YouTube videos go, not everything has to be recorded, and that's okay, because it's more fun sometimes it's a little bit more fun, to have a good time that way without it being filmed. And I know usually every year you guys look forward to some kind of 4th of July YouTube video. That didn't happen this year, because, I was if I was in the middle of a mini break from uploading and providing you guys content, then we would have gotten you guys. I would have got something cooking for you. But not every year is going to be the same. Traditions sometimes, obviously, they don't last forever. Some, no matter how long you last, they take a break in some years, like years in between, because like the old saying goes, sometimes you need a break from the things you love every now and then before you can rack them up and do it again after taking a little bit of a break. Because guess what? If there was no break, you wouldn't like it as much, and you wouldn't want to do it no more because you would get too burnt out. So therefore, I know you guys love the quote unquote my tradition juice. Their car coming? No, my tradition juice. But some traditions are not meant like keep repeating the cycle every year. I mean, sometimes every other year is okay, so there's like a break. So therefore, no 4th of July party in Sandy Ridge, obviously, but at the same time, there was no 4th of July upload. So I told you we'd have something cooking in Sandy Ridge, even if it was not anything special. Jesus Christ, man. I'm sorry, guys. It's just my OCD's kicking in. I mean, I said we'd have something cooking in Sandy Ridge, but it didn't have to be a special, like a holiday video like 4th of July yesterday. So therefore, I wanted to keep it like simple and just do a regular upload, like, neighborhood fun. So that, like, the Bobby Labonte installment, aka episode 18. So I know for home days next weekend, we will be recording footage that we won't be able to use right away for the Brook Park documentary known as Sandher's Stories. I know I was the only one who told stories yesterday at Berea, and I apologize for that. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen the footage yet because I can't use it yet, but I didn't see any friends from the past there. I looked everywhere. All I could find was some modern day Berea friends that are holding the fort down for my generation. Ever since we grew up and moved on to other parts of Ohio, to other states, and unfortunately, some of them went to be with the Lord and won't be able to have the chance to grow old. So, hug your loved ones tight as you can and tell them you love them, because tomorrow's never promised, and you just don't know when it's your time. But I promise you, I will probably see more friends at Brook Park a week from today. Because this is on Saturday night, and with this time the fireworks more than instead of the usual Sunday night, I bet you more people will be there on Saturday more than they ever usually were in the past on Sunday over the years. Because it's more of a free day free day and night, to the point where everybody could stay out there all night. They can jam pack the festival across the street from my old neighborhood, where my old house is located. They don't have to worry about going to work the next day. They can just sleep in and rest from a physical energy hangover. I was probably seeing more old friends. Like, I learned from last year as to why I didn't see too many friends outside the neighborhood from that area. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but we're gonna figure it out. I'll do 50% at my old house and the neighborhood, and 50% at the fair. But I'm going to try my damnedest to give the bigger half of 50% to the fair. That way we can see more friends, more stories can be told, more memories, so we can use it in a documentary. And so I'm pretty sure next year for season 6 of Fun in the Sun, somehow this year we lucked by this much, barely, into going to Berea home days, which is why we went there for too long and we didn't see any friends of the past. So that's why you will not be seeing any stories from them or from any clips this year. So season 6 of Fun in the Sun, we're going to try to fix that. Hopefully my dad doesn't go out of town again, like the week before going into the week of the Berea Grindstone Festival, aka Berea Home Days at Coat Lake. But next week, we're going to see a lot more friends from the past. I can promise you that, and more stories will be told from more different people. I try to, be the fill-in for those who I didn't see yesterday. But if I ever see them again, I'll show them the clips of what I told, and they can tell me from their tell me the story, tell you guys the story. Same story I kind of told you guys last night from their point of view, and not my point, instead of me telling it from my point of view. Does it all make sense? I hope so. So, therefore, and as for Middleburg home days, aka summer in the city, this year would have been my first time since 2019, I think. And me and my dad did try. As you all know, I overslept and didn't make it to work that day. And my dad was able to early dismiss me from work like we were going to. And I was looking forward to that half day. So when I missed the bus, I had texted him right away telling him what happened. So he came to my house, grabbed me. We got a haircut. I wanted to get a bite to eat in between. But apparently my dad had a commitment at 5 o'clock. And he thought it was going to be all day. I knew it wasn't going to be, but not until last minute. It was too late to remind him. So apparently after the haircut, since we didn't have time to eat anything in between, it used to be behind Krispy Kreme, but apparently it's a big ass mess down there, and they moved it somewhere completely different. But there was nobody there except for a few random people, and it was way too soon. Yeah, we came way too early. I mean, if we could have gone back home, waited till 5 o'clock. That's when the festivities started, and tried to come back and do it again. But unfortunately, we could because my dad had a commitment in Lorraine at that same time. So therefore, unfortunately, we have to wait a whole last year until June 2026 for season 6 of Fun in the Sun to try that again. I mean, we were able to plan Brook Park accordingly this year, in advance. Berea was like a last minute thing. And considering they only did it one day this year rather than the 3 or 4 days in 1 weekend like in the past. And that's because COVID really changed it. It changed how a lot of events and such did shit usually. Like COVID adjusted. Not all events were adjusted in terms of the schedule. Some remained the same. Like Brook Park still remains the same, even if they moved the fireworks to a different day. The Corn Fest is still the same. More on that in a little bit. Middleburg is still the same, but Berea only does 1 day now instead of multiple. So therefore, for June 2026, I season 6 of Fun Until Sun. Then we'll try to do Middleburg home days again and record episodes of my documentary there. So therefore, I did record a little bit last night, but it was not much, unfortunately. It was all me telling the stories. All right, the last thing I'm going to say, at least for now, until we pause for channel identification, until something happens or we see someone. So, do you remember that freak accident at the Ohio State Fair in 2017? I don't know if it was either before or after the 2017 Corn Fest. It was sometime that year. They had a freak accident, and I think the Corn Fest officials, who were in charge of running things, got a little paranoid that, caution. I see their point, because that was basically their way of saying, don't ever say it can never happen to you, even though you see it happening to other people all the time, because guess what? It sure as hell can happen to you. They didn't want that same thing happening to us here in Ridgeville at the Corn Fest, which, as you all know, is Ridgeville's version of Coachella, which is a California festival in the month of June when summer starts. And Brook Park's version of that is the home days, obviously. But we're going to talk more about that in the days to come leading up to that event and multiple videos. Let me see here. They probably were scared that, probably a little nervous and paranoid that the same thing could happen to us. So they took away the rides. It looked like it was going to be a permanent thing. Even before, not only just before COVID, but even after COVID, like the vaccine year in 2021, when you put the Corn Fest back on the schedule when enough people got vaccinated, it makes things safer again, and COVID less severe than it was in 2020. And then the first post-COVID year, aka the first somewhat normal year we had since 2019 and 2022. It's 2023, the summer abomination, and then the San Diego Redemption last year. Even after the pre-COVID days came to an end, they still had no rides for that reason. But I guess enough people complained. I mean, I wasn't one of them. I didn't give a shit if there were rides there or not. But apparently, I only represented 20% of people who didn't give a shit about the rides. Well, the majority, 80%, wanted them back. So I guess, when the majority speaks up, they listen. The people who the majority speaks to, they listen. So that 80% got their wish. They're bringing the rides back. So we'll probably be doing double duty that corresponding Friday. We will go to South Central Park, go to the festival part, where all the vendors and everything at next to the park. Which is now a remastered, brand new look, fresh looking South Central. It's a new look. So I would say I've seen it online, but it doesn't do it justice online virtually. I'll do the phone and computer compared to in person. So I guess we'll get to see it in person for the first time ever. So therefore, we'll probably do double duty that night. Go to South Central, do our Born to Be Wild on the swing sets, do it over by the vendors and whatnot, and see our friends there. What friends we can find there, and then go in the very back where pre-2018, where all the rides were, back in its old spot where it belongs. So we'll probably be doing all the rides too. And I bet you this year's Corn Fest, because if we most likely go on Friday night, which we most likely will, and we'll most likely have to, because Emily's birthday is following Tuesday the 12th, for Jeff Gordon's 24th birthday. Because our birthday race is the Sunday, the same day as the finale day of the Corn Fest, which is usually only in the midday, and it closes like 7 o'clock at night. That's usually the more tame and timid day, where it's not not as fun and exciting as Friday and sometimes Saturday. So some years Saturdays it was like a banger, Friday 2.0. Not every year was like that for Saturday. But you know what I mean. So besides going to the playground and do new look play with South Central to do Born to Be Wild and whatever, shenanigans with our friends. We'll do whatever we do at the vendors and the DJ stand with our friends. And then go to the rides back where it used to be from 2015 to 2017, which 2015 was my first rodeo, as you know, my first year living here, where the rides belong. And then, have a good time there, sing on the rides like we always do at Cedar Point or any of the fairs that have rides, and then call it a night. And then I don't know what we got going on that following Saturday. A lot can change between now and then. And then Sunday, we have the Sirius Satellite Radio at the Glen for my wife's birthday race. Justice! For my wife's birthday race, which is the closest race to her birthday, which ironically that was the same race that took place the day she was born, when it was called the Global Crossing at the Glen. Sunday, August 12th, 2001. Because don't forget, even though I looked at it as more of a going away party for us, from courtesy of my dad's family, the Oliverases, because they knew we were going to leave, not only leaving for Mexico, but we were going to be gone for a long while. And we were for a year, August of 01 to June of 02. Even though it was mainly my cousin John and Marilyn's wedding, it was that. But at the same time, I also looked at it as two parties in for the price of one. It was basically John and Marilyn's wedding. But 7-year-old me also looked at it as them combining it with a going away party for us. My dad, my mom, my sister, and myself. One last hoorah with the family on Saturday, August 11th, before Mexico. And then August 12th, I watched the Sirius at the Global Crossing at the Glen. I didn't pack. We were on Sandhurst, visiting my grandparents, get ready to departure to Mexico. And then August 13th, we said farewell to the States and went to Mexico. Came back for a little bit in Christmas 2001, where I did the Dumb and Dumber thing. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't share that really super deep personal stuff on the internet. Before I repeated it again Sunday, September 29th of the following year. And then we went back to Mexico to finish it off. Came back in June 2002, in between MIS and Sears Point, before they renamed it Infineon, exactly the week after we came back to America. I know we had to stay in those little apartments temporarily until the Lenore house was ready for us to use it again. After our long lost friend Nadine and her family were temporarily living there, their quote unquote their house. At least that was the temporary placeholder who was living there until we got back. So when it was ready to be used, they got out of there, let us back in, and as they say, the rest is history. So, because I believe we watched the Dodge Save Mart 350 and Pepsi 400, and I think the Tropicana 400 in those apartments, those good sweet looking complex apartments. I can't remember where it was located in Michigan. And then when my Titi Provi was still in the hospital, ailing and was getting ready to die, as much as I hate to say it, I had her watching the New England 300 the next week in that hospital in 2002. And then the first race back in the Lenore house was the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono and Steve Park for flipping the first lap. My dad and I watched that live. And then 3 weeks later, my first MIS race. So back to the topic of this main topic of discussion. So therefore, I looked at that wedding for John and Maryland as also a combination of them tying the knot and the Oliveras just saying goodbye to us until it was time to come back, which we did in June 2002. So therefore, I'm getting this. I think that's Jen's family. But anyway, I don't know. I looked at it as a going away party, but that's how I thought it was as a kid. I thought it was just a going away party until my mom reminded me earlier this weekend that it was only John and Marilyn's wedding, which that's fine. But nowadays, listening to it, I look at it as like, hey, John and Marilyn's wedding was my dad, Oliveras' way of saying goodbye to my dad, my mom, and my sister and I. So therefore, yeah. So since Emily's birthday race, it will be closest to her birthday, Sunday, August 10th, right before she turns Jeff Gordon years old. That's why we have to go to the Corn Fest Friday. We'll have to go to the Corn Fest Friday instead of Sunday, because I want to make sure I have a banger time with the new look playground, the vendors and the rides and my friends and the TikToks and whatever YouTube roast spicer we might record at the Corn Fest again. But that's like a part of that quote unquote my tradition. Dude, my arm's getting tired, and do whatever we got to do the next day, which is August 9th, I believe, because August 8th is the Friday, the banger Friday. The Friday banger. Okay, I'm getting distracted here. Friday, August 8th, this will be the banger. August 9th will be unknown. And then August 7th will be Emily's birthday race. Hold on. And then we go back to work on August 11th. And then we celebrate her Jeff Gordon's 24th birthday, August 12th. And then that's around the time we start doing the college farewell tour to say goodbye to our, adult friends that either leaving for college for the first time or going back to college for another year. Some are getting their second, and a lot of them are getting their first. And there's a lot of them who are part of it over the years in the past that are no longer have to be part of it anymore. They're retired, so that because they're done with college, they graduated. So the one for Natalie I'm going to do this year, this will be her first solo one since Abby's done. We're going to do our, base her episode this year. Because Natalie was open to it. So, but a lot can change between when we discuss it until the time gets close, whenever her last day here at home is before leaving college next morning. Since, Abby and I did horse, I figured let's do pig with Natalie. So she was definitely open to it. So we'll figure it out as time goes by, because you just never know what's going to happen next. And as far as Lorain County Fair goes, we'll probably call my dad tomorrow, because he and my stepmom's body is still not has gotten readjusted to our time zone, because they were in Europe for so long to the point where they got used to their time zone, so they need a little bit of time to adjust. So hopefully by tomorrow their bodies got it figured out. I will call my dad, tell him about, Home Days fireworks from Brook Park by the old house on Sandhurst being moved from Sunday night to Saturday night. And then him and I will discuss the Corn Fest. That, my mom doesn't have to do it this year because she's still hurting. And then we'll discuss Lorain County Fair. We're going to close out the summer in style. I know the summer got off to a rocky start. No TikTok on the premiere, and despite the banger end of night 2, no TikTok was done. And then all the rain we had, and then the big ass storm, it almost like Stormgate 2.0. Or Stormgate 2nd edition, or Stormgate Part 2, because the first one was last August, and the power, except this one was a little bit rougher. Not a lot rougher, a little bit, because at least last year's Stormgate, our power never went out. and we got little to nothing here. Well, my old house got a shitload of damage, and I mean they lost a lot of power, more than people in my friends here in Lorraine County did, but that one was worse. This one wasn't as severe, except that's weird because it may have been less severe, but we lost power this time. I mean, some people never lost power, like no matter where they were, whether they were Cuyahoga or Lorraine. So that some of them got pretty lucky. Some of them did get pretty lucky. Unfortunately, we were one of the unlucky ones, which it was out for 15 hours as far as I remember, someone saying. At 1 a.m, they flickered the lights on and, gave us false hope thinking it was going to come back on. And then it turned back off, and then I couldn't resist to use my phone because, but that's why I bitched out of going to work the next day, because my phone died. That streak came to, I don't know how long it's been since I let my phone die. By 3 o'clock the next afternoon, it came back on. I had to fix the clocks and everything in the house. Like the electronic clocks, not the manual clocks. So, automatic electronic clocks. So, I had to fix those. And so, it was crazy, I know. But luckily, we've been, ever since, Adam's Jeremy Mayfield 19th birthday party, Daniel's grad party, my sister's, small weekend visit, the summer has been turning around. I guess they heard him, the seasonal gods heard me complain and saying, we don't want this to be 2023 version 2. So I guess they heard me speak up. They decided, let's turn this summer around, and it's given us much better weather for like the last several days. Last week or two, maybe a little bit more. And there's not the amount of rain has decreased a lot. We've gotten more TikToks done as of late. I know the streak ended with having at least one TikTok done on the summer premiere day ended. But that doesn't matter because we still have 2 full months of summer left. The rest of this month and all of next month to get shit done. Shit as in, TikTok dances for summer production on TikTok, and as well as over here on YouTube. So therefore, we are going to pause for channel identification. So if anything happens, something exciting or interesting take place, or we see somebody that's fun and awesome, or someone we love, or fun and exciting and interesting, we'll break in and show it to you. But for now, we're pausing for channel identification in Labonte, Skinner, Earnhardt Sr., Rusty, Park, Sprague.
Tomorrow.
All right, that was not too shabby, I guess. So the Kinsmen, never disappoint. But the night is almost over. So therefore, before the time runs out, let's say the magic words, and but based on what our next stop could be, or where our next person that we could run into. Let's see what else we can find and who else we can see. At least the Barleys are home, so we can wish them a happy belated Sandy Ridge anniversary. And it was, Shelby's daughter's, first birthday. So let's go wish them well.
A few minutes later.
Okay, that was incredible. Okay, we had a little bit of a little catch up with, Nick. I mean, we see Jen. Hold on. The house next to Daniel. So, I see Jen all the time because, we love her and everything. But it's been a while since I last saw Nick. And we had to catch up. And his mom and dad, I think it's, they're related to Abby. Oh, yeah, Abby. The last time I saw Abby, I think, isn't Abby, their other daughter, or their one daughter, or is it I don't even remember, but I think I said the wrong name. I think I said Jen when I meant Abby, so therefore that was my mistake on my part there. But yeah, they remembered me from when I last saw Abby in 2016, living La Vida Lab Rats. I was 22 when I last saw Nick's parents, and Abby, and now I'm 31. I got to see Nick's parents again before I ever got to reunite with Abby. So therefore, Abby, if you're watching this, I got to see, Nick's parents again. And of course, you came up, even though I think I called you by the wrong name, because I was so excited in the heat of the moment, to the point where, oh my God, to the point where my mind was going 160 miles an hour, and I was saying the wrong words when I meant a different words. So unfortunately, I guess that's what happens. You get excited to see someone you haven't seen in a long time, but at the same time, they're related to somebody else that you haven't seen in a long time for that almost exact same amount of time, if you know what I mean. But anyway, we're taking 2 more laps around. So therefore, there's really nothing happening out here except for that little off-camera excitement and a little bit of, small action at the Kinsman's in the backyard that was on camera. So I'm going to do my nightly Sandy Ridge recap, and, we're going to close oh, hi, Sarah or Juju? Which one? Hello? I can't hear you. Cut. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Hey, comedian. Okay, all right, sorry about that, everyone. I was trying to say hi to the comedian's daughter, and I couldn't figure out if it was Sarah or Juju. I think she responded, but it had to take me 2 or 3 times to try to hear her response. But anyway, there's really nothing happening right now, and I don't think anything's going to change anytime soon. So, therefore, we're going to make our little nightly Sandy Ridge recap video, taking 1 more lap, and then we'll go home and close it out. So please stand by, your mics are hot. Okay, 1 more lap around. So therefore, that'll do. White Flag sponsored by Credit One Bank. That'll conclude this, installment of Neighborhood Fun, Tear It Up Like Terry Labonte, for the 18th episode, known as the Bobby Labonte installment. So therefore, I told you we'd have something cooking for you guys here in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio. Even if the venture turned out to be either completely boring or not too exciting, just a little bit exciting, but the Boar Fest gets the bigger amount. So until next time, this is Mark Oliveira signing off. We're going to take 1 more lap around, finish doing a nightly Sandy Ridge recap video, which will most likely only go on Instagram and TikTok, but this whole big gigantic-sized video will go over on YouTube, and we're going to have to figure out what we're doing tomorrow, because I know for a fact it's going to be beautiful out, and we will not be watching the Chicago street course. But remember, next Saturday, we will be going to Brook Park Home Days, And I gotta let my dad know they moved the fireworks up from Sunday night to Saturday night, meaning we gotta go Saturday, because now if we go Sunday, it would be pointless, which means I don't have to take off work, you know, not this coming Monday, but the Monday after, meaning on Sunday, no matter what the weather's looking like, whether it's rain or shine here at home in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio, we get to watch the Dodge Save Mart 350 at Sears Point in place of the Brickyard 400 for a reason I will not say, just out of privacy, for privacy reasons, which I was going to watch the Brickyard, but something came up on that same day, but can't tell you what it is or give you any hints. So, and we're going to swap out the Brickyard and replace it with Sears Point. So it'll be our first Sears Point race since 2022. So our race review will be seen next Sunday. And I don't know if we're going to record any new content from Brook Park. We most likely won't. We'll probably record some like footage for the documentary, Sandhurst Stories, that we will not be able to use immediately. So we will let you know what happens and pass it along to you as time goes on, as soon as we know for sure what we're going to do. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. And I will see you all for that next video, whenever that may be. And to everybody out there, my audience and the whole rest of the world, I hope you guys had an amazing 4th of July yesterday, a safe Independence Day, and you drank responsibly and were mindful or not to drink and drive and called an Uber on your way home, and somebody gave you a ride if you did drink, and that you had a wonderful barbecue and a good food with your friends, family, loved ones, and whatnot. And if you guys had anybody who had a 4th of July birthday, happiest of birthdays to all of you, including, Sydney Serena, who celebrated her Jerry-nated 25th birthday. Jennifer Kanzig, my old friend, since I haven't seen since the last non-COVID home days in 2019, the last non-COVID year. The day after my sister got married, her turn. Todd Bodine, 26 years of age. Kat Krivda and Haley Tomasick's mother, Kitty, Kristen Tomasick, aka Kitty. Trying to think, how old did she turn? I don't really know, but I really don't care at this point. But to all the 4th of July birthdays, I hope it was a good, double celebration with your birthday and America's birthday. And so it makes it double the fun. If you guys went to see fireworks at, the fair, or is it like, a basic fireworks show, or a fair, or both of them combined. I hope it was fun and not too crowded, and that you were safe in that big ass mosh pit at whatever festival you went to, or just a basic regular fireworks show without the festival stuff, or a combination of both. Well, no, what I'm actually trying to say is, hope everybody's 4th of July was amazing and that everyone had a nice Independence Day. And, yep, we are officially back in full swing in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio. We call Sandy Ridge, because everybody who went on vacation and left me all alone during the Devil's Canyon trilogy, these bugs are out for blood. Those vacations are finally over, so now we can move on with our lives to bigger and better things, like nothing ever happened. Or I mean by nothing, as in all these vacations that these Sandy Ridge vacations took, we can finally act like it never happened. So God bless America. See you later, everyone.